You ever have one of those mornings where the world just feels off, like the air itself is holding its breath for the next disaster? That was me, standing on my porch in nothing but pajama pants at 7 a.m., coffee barely sipped, when Veronica Sterling, platinum hair, flawless makeup, heels sharp enough to stab the concrete, marched right up to my doorstep. "Remove that fence or lose your house, Dante." Her words hit harder than the crisp morning breeze. She pointed at my new chain-link fence like she was CSI, and I just dumped a body in my own front yard. "It's perfectly legal, Veronica. County approved," I said, waving the permit. She didn't even glance at it, just batted my hand away and shoved a violation notice into my chest so hard I thought it might bruise. $500, remove it or face foreclosure. Meanwhile, 3 other fences down the street, identical, sat undisturbed. I pointed, "What about those?" Her smile was pure ice. "Those homeowners know how to follow rules." She strutted away, the sound of her heels fading but the rage still ringing in my ears. Right then, I knew she'd picked the wrong guy for her HOA power trip. What do you do when corruption comes for your home? Where do you draw the line? I'll tell you where my line was drawn a good 6 months before that showdown, right when I'd bought this place in Willowbrook Estates. Corner lot, modest ranch, enough space for a woodworking shop. My little slice of peace after a divorce that left me with half my savings and most of my faith in humanity. There's nothing quite like the smell of cedar shavings and old hand planes in your own garage, especially when the rest of your life's been shredded by lawyers. Paradise didn't last. 3 weeks after I moved in, Veronica announced herself. You couldn't miss her, 52, dripping money, hair sprayed stiff, the kind of lady who brings a ruler to measure grass height. Not a metaphor, an actual yellow ruler. I saw her one morning, squatting in random yards, measuring blades of grass like she was prepping for a botany exam. Thing is, her enforcement was surgical. Jim Morrison down the street, he gets a fence. Veronica brings him cookies and tells him what a savvy property owner he is. Mrs. Patterson plants roses a bit over her line. Veronica helps her replant, compliments her gardening. Me? The day after my fence went up, she materialized like a specter. No cookies, no chit-chat, just that Arctic glare and a violation notice that hit the door before the sun cleared the trees. "This fence disrupts neighborhood harmony," she said, power suit brighter than the morning. It was the same as Morrison's. His was pre-approved, she lied. I'd done my homework. His permit was filed after the HOA covenant. No pre-approval anywhere. That's when I realized the ugly pattern. Every violation went to the same folks. Me, Mrs. Rodriguez, the single Latina mom, Mr. Kim, the quiet, elderly neighbor who barely spoke English. The white families with the same infractions. They got helpful suggestions and warm smiles. The taste of injustice burned worse than cheap whiskey. Then came a gut punch. 3 days later, I'm wiring up a motion sensor by my garage, and I hear Veronica on the wind talking to her friend Janet. "Property values," she laughs. "We can't have certain elements bringing down standards. Sometimes you have to be creative about turnover." That certain elements was aimed straight at me. My hand shook, part pain from the screwdriver, part fury. That's when I knew this was war. Veronica had declared it, maybe not with guns, but with fake authority, targeted harassment, and a smile you'd only trust if you wanted to get bit. The next 2 weeks, she unleashed hell. Inspections, fake emergencies, violation notices like confetti. I'd be at work, keeping the city's power grid running, and get a text from my neighbor, Mrs. Tessa, HOA folks in your yard. Contractor taking pictures. I called Veronica. "Emergency inspection," she said, with the kind of smugness that makes your blood boil. "Safety concerns." My garage reeked of overheated wires, my nerves ready to snap. That evening, my yard looked like a crime scene. Boot prints in the marigolds, tape residue on the fence. New violation notices, structural safety, potential foundation damage. Pure fabrication. But she made a crucial mistake. She forgot about Mrs. Tessa. Next morning, Tessa comes over, 78 years old, hands shaking, flip phone in her pocket. "I recorded them," she whispered. "That video, blurry as hell, but the audio perfect, caught Veronica instructing her contractor to find problems. I need documentation of hazards, anything to justify removal. The kicker? We can't have his type lowering standards. Sometimes you have to encourage the right turnover. That's the kind of sentence that makes you see red. And it wasn't just me. Tessa told me. Rodriguez got a surprise inspection after she complained about lights. Kim after he asked about the playground budget. Always safety. Always when people were at work. So I went full engineer. Documents everywhere, coffee, a year's worth of HOA records spread out like a detective's board. Veronica's company, Sterling Properties, was getting paid tens of thousands for emergency contracts, landscaping, assessments, all funneled from HOA funds. Conflicts of interest so blatant they'd make a mobster blush. And all those inspections? Supposed to be approved by the board, 24-hour notice, none of which ever happened. I filed complaints, sent in evidence, installed security cameras, 4 of them motion-activated, night vision like my own little Fort Knox. Bright yellow, no trespassing signs, with actual criminal statutes listed. 2 days later, my camera caught Veronica driving by at a crawl, reading every word. She escalated, of course, couldn't have her power threatened. Next came the nuclear option, a certified letter. Lien placement, $2,500 for covenant violations, threat of foreclosure. That was her play. Bankrupt me with legal fees, then swoop in and buy my house cheap. Contractors started refusing to work for me. Veronica called them, spread rumors, said I didn't pay bills. She was playing chess while I'd been playing checkers. So I dug deeper. I found the HOA hadn't held a single legal annual meeting in years. No notices, no member votes, just a handful of cronies rubber stamping whatever Veronica wanted. And then the real smoking gun, Gerald, the treasurer, had been cutting checks to his own landscaping business. 15 grand. It was all illegal as hell. Called up Sarah Martinez, a property attorney with a reputation for gutting corrupt HOAs. We're not just fighting the lien, she said, eyes lighting up over the mountain of evidence. We're taking down the operation. We organized a neighborhood meeting, 17 families, each with their own story of harassment, fines for garden gnomes, window coverings, decorations. The pattern was crystal clear. 7 families committed to filing coordinated complaints. That's when Veronica lost her mind. Saturday, 8 a.m., I hear chainsaws. Run outside. There's a crew prepping to cut down my massive oak, the tree that made me buy the house. Emergency removal, imminent danger, the crew chief says. I protested. They shrugged. I called the cops, but by the time they arrived, 3 limbs were gone, $8,000 in heritage tree destroyed. Then I spotted the real twist, surveillance cameras in the branches freshly installed. The cop traced the serial numbers, registered to Sterling Properties. Veronica had used the tree service as cover to plant illegal surveillance. By noon, my yard was a federal crime scene. Cameras, yellow tape, neighbors gathered. The FBI showed up, illegal surveillance, civil rights violations, racketeering charges piling up. Mrs. Tessa? She was grinning ear to ear, coffee thermos in hand. Digging through old HOA records, I found a nail in the coffin, a clause requiring the HOA to offer to buy any corner property first before it hit the market. My corner lot. And who was the acquisition agent? Sterling Properties. Veronica's endgame was clear. Force me out, buy cheap, flip for profit. She'd done it to 6 other families. 7 properties stolen with harassment, 4 sales, cooked up emergencies. I snapped. Time to go on the offensive. Literally. I built a legal, code-compliant electrified fence. Motion-activated, 10,000 volts, warning signs everywhere. Cameras to capture everything. Officer Martinez, who'd seen Veronica's crimes firsthand, approved my permits and promised fast police response. When desperation set in, Veronica dropped all subtlety. Bribery attempts, false insurance claims, slander around town. She was unraveling, dragging her cronies with her. Then, at 2:17 a.m. one night, my security system woke me, 3 figures creeping across my yard. Veronica, Gerald, and Diane. Bolt cutters gleaming. Tablet out. ready to fake emergency damage. I called Sarah. They're doing it. Let them, she said. We want this on tape. They cut the fence. Gerald gets zapped, 10,000 volts. Diane tries to help. Same fate. Veronica, stubborn as ever, grabs the cutters and goes flying, hair frizzed, heels tangled. Police, EMTs, and FBI show up minutes later. My cameras caught everything: trespass, evidence tampering, insurance fraud. News crews arrived. The feds announced charges: racketeering, fraud, conspiracy, civil rights violations. Veronica and her board went down in flames. Their mugshots, hair still wild from the shock, circulated on every property rights forum in the state. 6 months later, the neighborhood was transformed. Veronica got 8 years in federal prison. Gerald, 6. Diane, 3 in a deal for turning state's evidence. Our new HOA board, democratically elected, restored fairness. Property values shot up, block parties returned. Kids played where spies once plotted. My fence, still electrified, still legal, now a symbol of what happens when you fight back. Settlement money funded a legal defense scholarship for homeowners fighting abusive HOAs. Sarah started a law firm for these cases. Mrs. Tessa, she's now the unofficial historian and queen of our block. The greatest victory, though, was personal. My woodworking shop became a community space. Neighbors, laughter, the sweet smell of cedar, no fear, no spies. That oak tree, now restored, shades barbecues and swings. If you've ever dealt with someone like Veronica, someone who thinks power gives them a free pass, remember Dante's lesson. Document everything, stay calm, and never stop reading the fine print. Sometimes justice comes quietly, and sometimes it comes in a blaze of blue light at 10,000 volts. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line on property rights, on standing up to authority gone wrong? Ever had to fight back against folks who thought the rules didn't apply to them? Drop your story in the comments, share where you're watching from, and let's talk about where justice really begins.